Good morning. Today we'll start with our module 4. In the previous classes we have discussed on various types of microscopes such as optical microscope, transmission electron microscope and other types of microscopes. So like X-ray diffraction, we have discussed them. Today we'll continue with the same module. Today we shall discuss on scanning probe microscope and atomic force microscope. So let's go now. Let us first discuss what is meant by scanning probe microscopy. Scanning probe microscope, which is also abbreviated as SPM, is a branch of microscopy that forms images of surfaces using a physical probe and scans the specimen. In scanning probe microscope, as we can see, the word scanning indicates that here the specimen is scanned by means of a probe. So here we make use of the probe, which is a physical probe, and with the help of the probe the specimen is scanned and we get the images of the surfaces of the scanned specimen. How does SPM works? What is the principle of SPM? So here the tracing of the surface of the specimen is done through the use of a sharp electrically charged probe. The probe is an electrically charged probe which is similar to our old record player. As we have seen in our olden days, the old record player, which is nothing but a long playing disc, a round disc of a larger diameter, and constantly a tip or a probe will be moving on it to play the songs. The same way the scanning probe microscopy will also be done here. But what happens is that in our previous old record players, the probe is touching the surface of the needle, or what you call the needle is touching the surface of the disc, whereas in case of a scanning probe microscopy, the probe will not touch the surface but it will trace the specimen at certain height. The height is about nanometers above the surface. When the probe is tracing or scanning the surface of the specimen at a height of nanometer, it will try to record the image of the surface. The irregularities in the surfaces are recorded and the images are formed. Let us now discuss the working principle of the scanning probe microscope. How does it work? So the probe, usually the probe is a stationary one. The probe doesn't move. So the probe is always made a stationary one. The probe, or sometimes what happens, the sample may also be a stationary one. So usually the probe is made a stationary. It is moved by a piezoelectric tube. So the probe is made to move with the help of a piezoelectric tube. So, and these type of scanners or scanning probe microscopes, they are usually made to or designed so that it can operate in all the three perpendicular directions, that is X, Y and Z. So here we adopt raster scan technique. So by raster scan technique, the sensor will sense the data on the surface. Due to the interaction between the probe and the surface, the images are recorded and those images are used to study the surface of the specimen. Let us see now the figure. So this is the figure of a scanning probe microscope. Here we can see that we have a piezoelectric tube and the specimen surface or the study surface, which is having irregularities, whatever it is, and it is having a cantilever beam, and below of the cantilever beam we have a sharp tip, that is the probe, and we have a photo detector and a data processor and feedback electronics. So this is the setup. So let us now see how does this scanning probe microscope works. So the probe here is a stationary. It is moved by piezoelectric tube. So the probe, which is a stationary one, is moved by the piezoelectric tube. So these can operate in X, Y and Z direction. As I said, raster scan pattern is used to sense the data and it helps to form the image due to the interaction between the probe and the surface. So the feedback from the sensor, so whatever movement or whatever the sensed data is there, with the help of this probe, it is sensed by this photo detector, and it is helped to maintain the constant distance. It helps to maintain a constant such that the probe will not touch the surface. So the distance between the probe and the surface is maintained constant from the surface of the object. So when this probe will move on the surface of the surface of the specimen, it will capture the image, and the image will be captured by this scanning probe microscopy will be up to 100 micrometers or still smaller as few nanometers. So that much magnification we can obtain in the image that is scanned by this type of microscope. Here piezoelectric crystals are used for positioning the sample. So the piezoelectric crystals are used here, that is nothing but these are ceramic materials. So why these materials are chosen for or why piezoelectric crystals are chosen here means because these ceramic materials, they can expand due to this electric field, and they will help for generating the microscale motions in the surface. This since this SPM technology, scanning probe microscope technology, can be operated in a wide variety of environments. That means we do not require any vacuum chamber as in other types. So it can operate in a wide variety of environment, and even we can make use of non-conductive specimens also by manipulating them, and hence we can even observe or scan the non-conductive specimens also by using this scanning probe microscopy. So scanning probe microscopy, here the probe will never touch the surface of the specimen, but it is at a certain height, or it is at the gap between the probe and the surface is of certain distance. So this distance is reduced in case of another type of microscope. So here there is a gap, and with the help of this method it will scan the image surface, and the sensed data will be used for the analysis purpose. Let us now discuss what are the advantages and disadvantages of scanning probe microscopy. Scanning probe microscopy is helpful for the researchers, wherein it will provide the researchers to give or to get the information regarding some specimens. So here we do not require any type of samples preparation as in other techniques. So therefore it is lesser time consuming, so and helpful for the researchers to analyze a variety of specimens. Here we make use of probes, specialized probes are used. So these probes can be still more modified. So with the modified improvements in these probes, so the technique can also be improved. Scanning probe microscopy technique can also be improved, wherein it will help to provide the faster and more accurate or more information can be obtained regarding the images, and also and modifications can also be done. Here computers are used to produce the real-time color images. As and when the probe scans the surface of the specimen, the images, color images are produced on the monitor, computer monitor. This feature helps the researchers to get the real-time information, and they can get the information regarding its cellular structures, harmonic responses, and magnetic energy also. So real-time images can also be captured, and it is helpful for the researchers. The other advantage of this SPM is that they do not require any vacuum chamber as in other techniques. They do not require any vacuum chamber, and hence they can be operated without any such vacuum environments also, and they can also be operated at a standard temperature and pressure, or they can also be submerged in a liquid reaction vessel also, and it can be used. Disadvantages. Coming to disadvantages, the disadvantage is that images that are produced by this technique are in black and white or grayscale. So images produced by this technique are in black and white or grayscale. So this may lead to reading or faulty reading of the or faulty analysis of the specimen surface, or it may lead to inaccurate results regarding its shape, actual shape or size. The scanning techniques are usually slower. The scanning technique is a slower one, and hence the scanning rate is very slow. So efforts are being made now in the development of the scanning probe microscopy to improve its scanning rate. Scanning probe microscopy is often not useful for examining the buried intersurfaces such as solid-solid interfaces or liquid-liquid interfaces. So these are the three disadvantages. The three disadvantages are that, so black and white or grayscale images may lead to inaccurate information from the specimen. The scanning rate is slow, and scanning probe microscopy is not useful for examining interfaces such as solid-solid interfaces or liquid-liquid interfaces. Coming to the applications of scanning probe microscopy, this scanning probe microscope is helpful for researchers because it is one of the imaging tools. So this helps in it to gather or provide information which are having high magnification. So we can get high magnification of the three-dimensional shaped specimens also. So this scanning probe microscopy is useful to determine the higher image magnification of three-dimensional shaped specimen. The second application is that this SPM will render not only enhanced images, not only it gives enhanced images, but it is also helpful for determining specimen properties such as response and reaction and non-action when they are stimulated or touched. Even this can also be analyzed with the SPM microscopy. Scanning probe microscopy is found for, or it is helpful for both academic as well as for the industrial laboratories. So we find the major application of scanning probe technology in both academic purpose as well as in industrial laboratories such as physics, biology, chemistry, and it is also one of the major analysis tools for the research and development. Next, we shall discuss another type of microscopic technique, that is atomic force microscopy. What is atomic force microscopy? Atomic force microscopy is also known as scanning force microscopy, which is also known similar to the scanning probe microscopy. Here it is a very high resolution type, and here the resolution is of the order of a nanometer, that is more than 1000 times better than the optical diffraction limit. So how the information is gathered in atomic force microscopy? In case of atomic force microscopy, the information is gathered by feeling or touching. So here, as I discussed just now, in scanning probe microscopy, the probe is at certain distance, but here the probe, it will touch or it will feel the surface. So here the probe employed is a mechanical probe, and here also piezoelectric elements are also used that will facilitate for the movement, for the accurate and precise movement for the scanning technique. So atomic force microscopy is also similar to scanning probe microscopy, and the only difference is that instead of the gap that we see in the scanning probe microscopy, here the probe will touch the surface to gather the information. Coming to its working principle, how does an atomic force microscopy works? Atomic force microscopy is one of the most versatile and powerful tool. We call atomic force microscopy as a most versatile and powerful technology for studying the samples at a nanoscale. So we can analyze the specimens or the samples at a nanoscale level, and hence it is called as a versatile and powerful. Why it is called as versatile? So it is called as versatile because AFM can not only image in three-dimensional topography. It doesn't provide not only a three-dimensional topography, but it also provides the types of surface measurements that are required for the scientists and engineers. That's why it is called as a versatile. Why it is called as a powerful tool? So AFM is called as a powerful one because it can generate images at a higher resolution. It can generate images at even at atomic resolution, and with a minimum sample preparation. So that's why it is called as a powerful one. So AFM is both versatile and a powerful technology. So what are the different elements of this AFM? And AFM uses a cantilever, as we discussed in SPM. Here also we have a cantilever with a very sharp tip at the bottom. So this sharp tip is also called as a probe. This tip will try to scan the sample surface. When the tip approaches the surface, the tip will touch the surface of the specimen, and there the attractive force between the surface of the specimen and the tip of the cantilever will try to deflect because of the waviness or the ups and downs of the surface roughness of the specimen. So figure shows a AFM. This is the AFM setup. So here we can see that this is a PZT scanner over which the surface of the specimen is that has to be tested is placed. It consists of a cantilever. We can see the blue color one is a cantilever, and the bottom of the cantilever there is a tip, a sharp tip, which is called as a probe, and the photodiode which will try to sense the photosensitive photodiode which will try to sense the reflected rays that are falling, and it is sensed, and the deflections are recorded by this detector and a feedback electronic. So this is the setup of a AFM. Let us now discuss how it works. When the cantilever tip is brought more closer to the surface, so when this cantilever tip, blue color one, when it is brought closer to the surface, so there is an increasing repulsive force that takes over and causes this cantilever to deflect away from the surface. So a laser beam is used to detect the cantilever deflection. Why this laser is used? So the laser is functioning the similar way as in our scanning probe microscopy. This laser is used to detect the deflections that are happening in the cantilever deflection because of the up and down movement of the probe on the surface of the specimen. So the incident rays that are reflected back due to slight deflections, the incident rays that are reflected back are sensed by this photodiode. This photodiode is also called is nothing but it is a position sensitive photodiode. The photodiode used is a position sensitive photodiode, which is also called as PSPD. So this PSPD will sense the reflected deflections and send those deflected image values or incident ray values that are deflected by are sensed by the photodiode, and it is detected by the detector and the feedback electronics. This AFM image deflection and topography of the sample surface that is scanned by the cantilever will depend upon the area of interest that is to be used. So it will try to gather the deflection because of the waviness or the surface imperfection. The probe will move in the form of a sinusoidal form. So this movement or the deflection is also recorded, as well as the topography of the sample surface is recorded by this cantilever on which on the surface that is of our interest. A feedback loop. So we can see the until the until the whole surface of the specimen is is scanned, the feedback loop, the informations are sent from the photodiode to the detector and again to the cantilever beam. So like this complete loop, this feedback loop is used to control the height of the tip. So wherever we need to see that the surface is having higher height or higher projections, in such cases the tip of the cantilever can be moved. So for this we require this laser. So this feedback loop is used to control the height of the tip above the surface with the help of this constant laser position, so that we can generate the accurate topographic map of the surface features. Usually this AFM will operate in 3 different modes. So what are those 3 modes? So they are called as operating modes. AFM can work in 3 different modes. The 3 different operating modes are, the first one is called as contact mode. As we see that in contact mode, as just now we discussed its working principle, the probe tip is in constant physical contact. The probe is in constant physical contact with the sample surface. Here the tip will scan along the surface and the sample topography also along with the deflection of the cantilever is recorded. So here in contact mode, the probe tip is in physical contact, constant physical contact with the sample, and we can get the information regarding the sample topography as well as its vertical deflection also. The second type of operating mode is called as non-contact mode or non-contact AFM technique. So in non-contact technique, what happens is that, so the cantilever which is having the probe tip, here this cantilever is vibrated near the surface of a sample. It is not in a constant physical contact, but it is vibrating at certain distance. Here the importance is given to the distance. The spacing between the tip and the sample is of the order of tens to hundreds of angstroms. The spacing is very less, or the distance between the tip and the sample is of the order of tens to hundreds of angstroms, wherein in case of a non-contact type. The third operating mode of an AFM is a tapping mode. In case of tapping mode, the sample surface and the tip are both protected from damage. In this mode, what happens is that the cantilever is caused to vibrate near its resonance frequency. So the tip will subsequently move up and down. So that is like similar to the sinusoidal motion. So this motion is reduced because of the attractive or repulsive interactions as it comes near the sample. So there are 3 operating modes for an atomic force microscopy. One is contact mode, wherein the tip is in contact with the physical contact with the sample surface. Non-contact mode, wherein the sample and the tip are at a distance of, or the spacing between these two is of the order of tens to hundreds of angstroms. In the tapping mode, the cantilever is caused to vibrate near its resonance frequency. So these are the 3 operating modes. Let us now discuss what are its advantages. So the major advantages of this atomic force microscopy is that the resolution that of the image that is obtained by this technique is of a fractions of a nanometer. That is the first advantage. The second advantage is that atomic force microscopy will provide 3D imaging of liposomes, and also it will provide details on the morphology, the size, distribution, homogeneity, stability and surface structure of the specimen scanned. The third advantage is that similar to scanning probe microscopy, atomic force microscopy doesn't require any vacuum environment to operate. So it can operate even in ambient air or under liquid also. So that is also its added advantage. The fourth advantage is that it provides information about the mechanical and chemical properties of the sample. So both the mechanical and chemical properties of the sample can be obtained based upon the surface through force measurements. The sample surface, with the help of the sample surface, we can be able to determine the mechanical and chemical properties also. The fifth advantage of this atomic force microscopy is that it can operate in both liquid media and in air. So atomic force microscopy has a range of material surface properties. It can record a range of material surface properties both in a liquid media as well as in air also. Let us now discuss what are its disadvantages. Its disadvantages are, so it requires atomic force microscopy requires nanoparticles to be adsorbed onto support surfaces, so which can modify the size and shape of the vesicles. So therefore the size and shape of the vesicles can be modified, so that is a major disadvantage. Second disadvantage is that the periodic contact of the probing tip, can drag the liposomes as it moves across the vesicles in a sample. That means as the probe is continuously moving on the surface of the sample, it may drag the liposomes of the particular specimen also. That is also a major disadvantage of AFM. Now let us discuss what are its applications. So we find the application of atomic force microscopy in various disciplines. Here it is majorly used in all these disciplines because the imaging technique are at nanoscale and sub-nanoscale level. Hence, because of this effective advantage, it has been used in semiconductor science and technology, thin film and coatings, tribology, surface chemistry, polymer chemistry and physics, cell biology also, molecular biology also makes use of AFM, energy storage and energy generation materials can, in such field also we make use of, discipline also makes use of AFM, piezoelectric and ferroelectric materials also in this discipline we make use of atomic force microscopy. So few of them I have discussed its applications here. So semiconductor industry. So in semiconductor industry, what is the use of this AFM? So in semiconductor industry, AFM is used in quality control and imaging for silicon integrated circuits. So in semiconductor industry, AFM is mainly used for quality control and imaging for silicon integrated circuits. It is used in imaging and development of graphene and study the characterization of graphene composite materials. So graphene composite materials. So for graphene composite materials, the graphene development and its characterization also we make use of AFM technology. So aerospace and automotive industries, they rely on this atomic force microscopy for the development of materials. Atomic force microscopy is widely used in aerospace and automotive industries also. We can use this atomic force microscopy to characterize material test sample in an hours together only instead of days together. So the time taken to characterize a material or a test sample is very less, that is hours only, compared to other techniques wherein they require number of days. So here this AFM technique can be, or AFM microscopic technique can scan a number of mechanical properties in a very lesser time. AFM is also used in research, that is biological research, wherein it helps to distinguish cancer cells from normal cells, so based on their stiffness. So based on the stiffness of the cells, AFM atomic force microscopy is used in research to distinguish cancer cells from the normal cells also. So with this we'll stop the today's class. In the next class we'll discuss the other type of microscope. Thank you.